everyone's had a blessed week. So today I'm gonna do a plant update, and I'm gonna go ahead and repot some cuttings that I have in the water, and go over a few things. So I haven't made a video in a few weeks actually. I missed out on a few of my Tuesday plant feature Tuesday, which I'll have one coming up this Tuesday. But it's just been a really rough week for me. Rough month. I had my daughter got married, and then I was gone for a while. So when I got back, I had, let's see, one, two, three plants that were acting up. Actually, four. It was one of my white fusion calathea. She's okay. One thing I did learn, so when they start drying out, they will curl their leaves. The white calathea, with the Maranta, she'll just droop and act weird. But yeah, so my white fusion calathea, she did was starting to curl her leaves inward. So I guess that's kind of like saving water. So anyhow, yeah. So my daughter got married. I was gone for a while, going back and forth to her place and just doing stuff for the wedding, and then I stayed at her place for my granddaughters to take care of my granddaughter. But yeah, when I came back, just a second. When I came back, basically I had three little issues going on. For one, my ZZ plant, who looks good now. I thought I was losing her. There was one stalk. So it was basically like a stalk like this with about two other stalks attached to it, yellow. And I was so like, what the heck? This is Hagar, who's very special. I repotted her a few months ago. She was in a her nursery pot for, I got her at Lowe's last year. So she's been with me for a while, and she's one of the longest plants I've had. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's her name Hagar tells you alone that she's a trooper. She made it through. So all I could think is she didn't have bugs. I did repot her. When I pulled her out, because when I repotted her, I didn't mess with her roots or like move the stalks or anything. I didn't do any of that. I just sat her in one pot into another, which I've learned. We got to trial and learn. It's best sometimes to go ahead and try to break it up, look at them roots, give it a little bit of room. I didn't loosen it up or nothing. So all I'm thinking is she was too tight in the pot. Her stalks, they were all clumped together, which I know ZZ plants like to be, they like to be pot bound, but the way they were, how they were all squished together, that's all I could think. And the shock of her going, me repotting her and stuff, is all I could think, because I don't see bugs. I didn't see any bugs. The soil wasn't like hecka moist. She's in some really fast draining soil, cactus mix, and some perlite and pumice, and orchid bark. So she has a lot of aeration, and she's in terracotta. So all I could think is the shock of me repotting her and moving her around a lot, is what caused it. I'm hoping you can see her whole entirety, but this should be able to, let's see, there she is. So that's how she looks. She looks okay, she hasn't had any more yellowing. I'm letting her dry out, so I'm just gonna leave her be. That was like, I was like, no, not Hagar, because she's means something. Plants, it doesn't, they're sentimental to us because we do put a lot of love. Well, I know I do. I put a lot of love and energy and talking to them, so you grow a bond with them. They're not just something sitting on the counter looking cute. And she's actually one of, there's a few others that have names, but Hagar has had this name and she's been here. And Hagar basically is a biblical, she's in the Bible, and the beginning, actually, I believe in Genesis, she was the one in Abraham and Sarah's. She was basically their slave, and Sarah wanted children, so she had Abraham pregnate Hagar, but God wanted them to trust him because he said that it was going to be him that it was going to be Sarah who he was going to impregnate, but actually Sarah was like in her, I don't know if it was the 70s or 80s, and so was Abraham. So long story short, she ended up having a son, and then after she had her son, Sarah ended up having a son, and then they cast her off into the wilderness, and God still took care of her though, but that was her name, Hagar. So that's where I got her name from the Bible. So yeah, so she looks okay. So far so good. She's been doing okay. I'm just gonna leave her alone, let her get situated. I need to dust her leaves off. But other than that, she's doing okay. It was that one stalk. So I went ahead and took it out, and she's living her best life. So that's that. So let me move on to the next plant. Okay, next was this. So I repotted her. This is the lemon lime philodendron. I had repotted her a while back. I had did a repot on her. Now, when I first got her, she had broken leaves, whatnot, and then I ended up repotting her before that repot. So she's been repotted about twice. So since I've had her, what happened was I noticed one of the branches, one of the stems were broke, and it wasn't hanging into the pot. So I had to go in there basically and do some repairing, and I stuck it back into the pot, and I went ahead and stuck it in the pot. So yeah, I stuck it back into the pot, and didn't think nothing of it. Then it started wilting and just looking weird, and the water was the soil was holding too much water, it seemed like. And when I repotted her the first time, I used the soil that was already in it, and then I put some of mine's what I had left. I only had a little bit of soil, so I just threw what I could in when I did the first repot and trying to save the plant. But then when I noticed it started, it was growing, but the leaves was growing little, and it still was wilting, but and then the soil felt still soggy, like it was holding still too much soil. So then I repotted it the last time when I did a video on it, and I put it in terracotta. Well, when I came back, so the ZZ plant was yellow, and then when I came back, she was wilting. Like a bunch of her leaves was just wilted, curled under, just looking all to the just bad. So I hurried up, pulled her out of soil, which I've learned with pothos and philodendrons. When they're doing that, I hurried up, got it up out the soil, went to look at the roots, looked at the stalks, and I just got whatever I felt wasn't good, and I just went ahead and cut all that off and put her in water. And as soon as I did that, she prepped right back up. So I cut off a lot of the dead, and this is what I was left with of the plant. So I didn't lose the whole plant, thank God, because this plant I really like, and it's kind of rare to find this plant. The lemon lime. Well, I think this is called the lemon lime philodendron, but it's hard to find this one. And I believe they have a patent on it. That means you're not supposed to propagate it, but I sure had to propagate it because it was dying on me. So yeah, I'm glad I caught it on time too. And once I cut all that dead off, and I put her stalks inside the water, I made sure these stems ain't in the water. It's just stalks. So because stems can rot off, but stalks won't rot off. It's the stalk that the roots come out of too. So it's always good to make sure you have just stems inside of water if you're water propagating. And don't leave it in too long. Just wait till it start getting some roots, which I'm gonna show you what kind of roots I look for before, because otherwise if you leave it in there too long and they get used to that water, it's gonna be hard to transform into soil. So it was a good thing I was able to save her, and she got a bunch of new growths. All this has opened up since I put her in water, because she was basically going downhill. I don't know. I should have probably did that the first time. When I seen the stick was broke, when I seen the branch was broke, I should have just went ahead and took her and put her in soil instead of repotting her the first time. Then put her in water, and by now she would have had roots and I could have potted her up. But instead, I repotted her twice, which was not very smart, because the first time I should have went ahead and put her in some water. Which brings me to the plant that I actually lost. So I had bought a Mangola pothos from Walmart, two of them. I bought two little, they were like in 3-inch pots. I spent $2 for each one of them. So I ended up putting them in, which was not dumb, but it was not very smart, but we learn from our mistakes. So I've learned through several different mistakes of taking care of plants for over a year now, but what I should have did, because those plants were severely overwatered, and they were in bad shape. A lot of the leaves were black. So what I did was cleaned it up, cut off the black leaves, kept them still in their root ball, and just repotted them. And I put them together in one pot. That was where number one I shouldn't have did. Number two, I ended up it kept turning. Like they would prep up, because when they need to be watered. I let it dry out, so pothos will like go limp on you, and they'll let you know when they need to be watered. So I let it dry out, then I watered it, and some of them rose up. Some of the leaves got what I do is fill. I do a leaf filling, and that's how I do a lot of different things to check the health. But something about when you feel the leaf, you can tell if the leaf feels hard, and you can tell a leaf that's not healthy, and you can tell a leaf that's healthy by feeling it. It has some type of structure. It's going to sit up, not droop. So the leaves started getting bigger. Long story short, when I pulled them, so while I was gone, I came back. Mind you, I had repotted and separated them and put them in 4-inch pots, where I should have not did. I should have, instead of doing that, I should have just went ahead and put them in water. When I first got them, pulled them out the soil, cut off the rot, stick it in some water, and let it restart again, because once you have root rot, it's over. I didn't do that. I repotted them the first time, put them in a big pot, a 5-inch pot, put both of them together. Then they were still having issues, so then I separated them, because I never really broke up the root ball. They were still in 2 root balls. And so when you pull them out, that's the root ball. I didn't pull that root ball and loosen it out. So then I ended up taking them out, putting them inside 2 4-inch pots with those root balls. I still didn't really break up the root ball. I broke it up a little bit and really didn't check those roots. And sure enough, both those plants declined. Once I did pull them out and I was going to try to save them and put them in water, it was too late. They were rotted all the way up the stem. So that's what it does. Root rot starts at the bottom where the roots are, and it's just going to keep moving up. So if you don't catch it on time. Like this might have had root rot because I moved it so much. You don't catch it on time, it's just gonna keep moving up the stem. So you gotta cut that rot off, stick it in some water, wait it, and basically start the plant all over again, which I'm doing with this plant. Which once again, we all got to learn from trial and error. We have to learn from our mistakes. And I basically lost, but they were both $2 plants. Now I know when I get a pothos or philodendron and I see that there's signs of root rot, which is black leaves, yellow leaves, brown leaves, you know, don't just cut the dead off. There was something going on for them to have all that dead on them anyways. So that tells you one thing, and it's really good to if there's dead and you just feel there's something going on, then it's really good to check and make sure that there wasn't root rot, and if it was, go ahead and cut that off and start it all over again. So yeah, so she got saved. She did get saved. Those I lost both those plants. They were little, but pretty much all mushed up. So lesson to be learned. So next is this purple passion vine. So mind you, there was three stalks when I got this plant. There's only one, and it's actually okay because this is all new. This right here is grown, and these are stretching out. So I end up only having one stalk left with this, which it was an experiment anyways. That's before I put myself on the no buy unless it's a philodendron Hoya or philodendron Hoya, Sansevieria, or peperomia that I do not have. So I bought her. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'm not tripping. I spent like $2 for her too. I got her at the same time, and her leaves were all rotted out. I had to throw half the plant away because she was severely overwatered. So I don't really do the rescue thing because 9 out of 10 there's a reason they needed to be rescued. But I tried. So she's doing okay. Her stem is growing, and then she's growing from the top. There's new growths here. So I'm not tripping. We'll see what happens. If she don't make it, she don't. If she do, she do. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. So that's the other little plant update. So she's down to one stalk, which she's grown. Those leaves have gotten pretty big because this was actually smaller. So she's doing okay. She likes to dry out also. So all right, next. Okay, next I had did a plant unboxing, and I had unboxed this plant and some Sansevieria. Ooh, excuse me. So this is what was left over. I lost a lot of that plant. That plant was having issues. I don't think it was really, I don't know. All I could say is I lost a lot. Pretty much this is all that's left of the plant. And this is the Panda philodendron. It's called the philodendron bipofolum. Let me find the exact name. Yeah, so they call it the Panda philodendron or the philodendron bifolium, Panda philodendron, whatever, whatnot. But I had ordered it on eBay, and here's the actual name of it: philodendron bipinnifolum, something like that. So I got it on eBay, and the lady was hands on. All I could say is she immediately responded back to my order, and so I went ahead and put these guys, saved what I could, put them in these little pots, which they're doing good actually. And she ended up sending me just a sec. Move these guys out of the way. She ended up sending me this, which is a huge plant. I put this stake in the middle, but it's pretty good size leaves, really healthy. She immediately sent this, and she sent me some cuttings, which she did say they weren't. She didn't know if they had aerial roots, but I was able to put them in some water, and so yeah, there weren't really no roots, but I went ahead and put them in water, and they still have some good size, healthy leaves on it. So yeah, this is going to be a whole nother plant, which I'm really excited about. And then I had these cuttings from the one that the first one, which they're not really doing too good. So I don't know what's going to happen with them, but we'll see. But yeah, she was nice. This one's really healthy. She got to water. This leaf just opened up. She did send this one dry. The other one was really wet and soaked. So I don't know what was going on, but I treated her with some systemic. I put her in the shower, sprayed her down. So yeah, and then she got her first watering yesterday, which she's a really nice size plant, and I'm really happy with that seller. I'm really, really happy. I was able to get her, and this is a nice size plant, and she sent this immediately to after I had called her regarding the other plant. So yeah, this is her. I'm really, really, really pleased. And yeah, she's a nice, healthy, rooted in plant, and I will be repotting her, and then I'm gonna get her a moss pole and let her go ahead and climb around it like I did my red emerald plant. So, because she definitely is a climber. But yeah, I was so happy. So I'm definitely gonna do a um, philodendron collection this Sunday, because my philodendron collection is really nice, and it's hard to find a lot of people who do collection videos. They do their plant collection, but they rarely do collections. So this is probably just going to be a part one, and then I'm going to do part two with the repotting, because this film has went on too long. So I'm going to do part two with the repotting after this one. So be looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, so this is just the plant update. I'll go ahead and do an update on them later on next month. We'll see how the cuttings are doing. But yeah, so that's my plant update. I'm going to go ahead and repot, and I'll video that when I have a few plants I need to repot. Well, to pot up their cuttings. And so I'll be back on part two.